What's going on, Quotation Nation? QuotebyLee coming at you with another Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's video. So today, I thought we'd do something a little cool. I'm here with my digital Game Informer. For those of you who don't know what Game Informer is, it is a subscription-based magazine that you can purchase through GameStop and their website, and it gives all the new details each month on different games coming out with tons of different information and interviews, and it's really, really cool, full of art and all kinds of stuff. So this month, it is February. I think this is February, but this might be March's Game Informer. I don't know. I think it's February's. But anyways, the main topic for this loot crate, or not loot crate, Game Informer, is Breath of the Wild. And so we have not read through this yet. I'm actually really, really excited. You can see on the screen we have a new take on an old legend. The Legend of Zelda. Zelda reinvents itself for Breath of the Wild. So without further ado, we are going to hop into this. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys are excited for Breath of the Wild, then make sure that you subscribe. We're going to cover as much content as we can as soon as we get our hands on a Switch and a copy of Breath of the Wild. And if you like Pokemon and other stuff, you can subscribe as well. And if you're old, let me know what you think of this video down below. So, right off the bat, we see this awesome little bit of art. See Link standing on a top of a mountain or something with a gorge down below. That looks like Death Mountain in the back. Pretty cool. So, Link has been asleep for a century. While he rests, the land of Hyrule is collapsing around him. Locked away in Hyrule Castle, the ethereal evil known as Calamity Ganon continues to grow in power. If it reaches its apex, the world's destruction is inevitable. Why Link lies dormant in the lead-up to this critical moment in Hyrule's history remains a mystery, but suddenly, Zelda's voice, heard for the first time in the series' history, says, "Open your eyes." And we've watched these trailers, guys. It's absolutely amazing. I love her voice. The voice acting seems spot on. Hearing her call, Link awakens inside a contraption that appears both magical and robotic. With nothing more than an old shirt and a pair of well-worn trousers, he sets out in a familiar world, but one unencumbered by boundaries common to other Zelda adventures. So there's a little bit of a preface. One thing that we do know, I don't know if you guys have seen any of these theories about where this game is going to take place in the timeline. A lot of people thought it might be directly after Skyward Sword, but the director of the game, I do not remember his name, has come out and said that this game does not take place after Breath of the Wild, and in fact takes place after the events of Ocarina of Time. So placing it in which timeline is very, very tricky, but it is my belief that it actually takes place in the Downfall era, and it is going to take place right after Ocarina of Time. Link is defeated, he has to rest for 100 years, and then the Calamity is destroying Hyrule, which would make sense. And I think that's where the game is going to take place. If you want to go more in-depth, you can watch a bunch of other theories that talk about that. But I believe that is the theory that makes sense. Anyways, getting back to the Game Informer. Next page we have a lot. Look at him standing up there. He's up in the mountains, all snowy and stuff. He's got his cool little clothes. Oh man, this game just looks absolutely beautiful. So in 2014, longtime Zelda producer Eiji Onuma, that's the guy, that's his name, showcased the first footage of Breath of the Wild. Since then, Nintendo has slowly revealed a Zelda game unlike any other, one afraid to re-examine the series' core conventions. In the recent years, Zelda games have become like a development order and workflow. Oh wait, I think I mixed something. Zelda games have become like a development order and workflow that we followed, Onuma says. We wanted to create something that wasn't that. We wanted to go off the rails a little bit. Breath of the Wild missed its initial 2015 release window, then its 2016 window, and finally slipped into 2017 when Nintendo announced its plans for the Switch. One of the main reasons it took so long to develop. Onuma's insistence on getting out of Zelda's comfort zone and into an open world. We had to redefine how we develop games, Onuma says. In the past, we took an approach where we would create small areas and patch them together. But then we realized that we couldn't do that. with this huge world. When we created this huge world, we first had to figure out what we needed to place on the map. So we figured that out, and then we would play the game every day and revisit it and figure out how those elements we placed would actually work in those areas. So this is really, really cool. It's a huge description of why it took so long. I actually didn't know that it was supposed to come out in 2015 because I didn't really follow it too much until actual trailers were coming out. So that's actually really interesting, seeing the development side of the game and why they made the choices that they did. So in the past, the director of Zelda project would define everyone's role and the team would branch off to create. But given the challenges inherent to build open world games, with Breath of the Wild's more than 300 staff members split off into groups and took ownership of specific sections of the massive world. We could have them play the game over and over repeatedly, and really have them take the time to understand what they were creating, as well as understanding the whole entire world as we were creating this game together, Onuma says. The challenge resulted in several delays, but the release is finally near. After exploring its open world for nearly 3 hours, completing a dungeon and seeing more of the game than anyone outside of Nintendo, we're confident Breath of the Wild is ready to transform our expectations for Zelda games. Like he says, it is so close, guys. It comes out this Friday. That's absolutely insane. I'm so excited. I'm not going to be able to get it right away, which is unfortunate, just due to some financial struggles. But once we get it, we're going to play the crap out of this game, guys. Trust me. We're going to explore everything. We're going to be uploading videos to YouTube with dungeons and stuff. We're going to stream it. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So, the open Hyrule. So this is really cool. We see Link on a horse, and I watched a video with Onuma. He was talking about horses and stuff, and most Zelda games that include a horse has Epona, which is Link's horse from Ocarina of Time, and it's really cool. But in this one, you can catch wild horses, and he did say that you have to kind of tame them, and you can eventually name them and stuff. So if you wanted to have a horse named Epona, I'm pretty sure you could, but it's just a really cool take on it. And then we also see Beetle, which is really, really interesting. A lot of people thought that this is why it might take place in the adult timeline with Wind Waker, because Beetle only appears in that timeline. But I don't know. It's really, really tough to say. I don't know. We're not going to get into that right now. Too many theories. Let's just read what we got. The open Hyrule. Nintendo adopted Breath of the Wild's open-world approach in part from critical reactions to Skyward Sword, which featured a number of large, disconnected areas. We received feedback where each of the areas are super fun, but at the same time, fans really want to know what's happening between those areas, Onuma says. We created a rather huge area where people can explore, but we soon realized that when you restrict these areas and create a boundary, then people always want to go outside of it and wonder what is out there. What is on the other side of the boundary? I realized that I had to take the boundaries and create this area where players will be able to freely roam around. We first got our hands on Breath of the Wild during E3 2016, but we only had 20 minutes to explore the opening area. Our second visit to Hyrule comes without borders, taking us much further north. I began with Link near Serene Stable, a resting point run by a character named Yamo, and that offers a comfortable bed for Link to restore his health, a place to store his horses, and the opportunity to meet with merchants and other non-player characters. So I believe that IGN or Game Informer, whoever it was that wrote this article, actually has this video footage. I will try to find it and link it in the description if I can. I think I saw something like this when I was watching a lot of videos. I don't remember where I saw it though. But yeah, so that's what we're seeing on the top screen, is this stable where you can keep your horses. Let's see. Stables are littered throughout the world, and each one is run by a distinct named character. I spend extra rupees to stay overnight in a more expensive bed, which awards me an extra heart the next morning. These hearts are colored yellow, and you can get them back and you can't get them back if you lose them during combat. You can also spend the night by fires in open world, but those only pass the time. They do not restore your hearts. Okay, so that's really cool. So I think that mechanic is something they're going to use, for different missions and stuff, where it's going to have to be night or day. I'm really excited for that because the heart thing is really, really interesting. You can eat food and stuff and rest, get these yellow hearts, and you get tons of hearts depending on the foods you eat, and I think that's really, really interesting. So the campfires don't heal from. Okay, so that's good information. That's really good information. I didn't know that before. Before I begin my journey, I talk to Yamo, who fetches a horse, which has been named Kyle prior to my play session. Kyle the horse. That's actually hilarious. As I set out to explore a nearby shrine, a rainstorm breaks out. Breath of the Wild's dynamic weather system constantly shifts and the world reacts accordingly. NPCs standing outside of the stable hastily make their way inside, and I notice a familiar face with a gigantic backpack awkwardly covering his head. I lost my place. As he makes from the rain as he makes his way to the stable. The traveling merchant Beetle, who first appeared in Wind Waker, returns to sell you assorted goods while you wander the open world. So that's really, really cool. I'm wondering what kind of role he's actually going to play. Actually, now that I think about it, he was also in Skyward Sword. I forgot about that. I had said that he was only in the adult timeline. That's actually untrue. He is in Skyward Sword. I completely forgot about that. Now, ooh, whoa, look at that lightning storm. That's really cool. Whoa. I can't wait to play this game, guys. This is so cool. All right. The rainstorm evolves into a thunderstorm, and suddenly I see electricity sparking on my back. The metal sword I have equipped is attracting lightning. I see it crash down next to me in an impressive violent explosion. Players can unequip their metal weapons and shields to stay safe or throw them near an enemy to put them in danger. That's so cool. That's awesome. It starts storming around some bokoblins. You just throw your sword over there. That's so cool. I can't wait to try that out. I let my curiosity get the best of me, and Link gets struck by lightning, instantly killing him. This is a far more dangerous world than Zelda games of recent memory. So you die instantly if you get hit by lightning. That's not cool. Not cool, man. I wanted to create a game where users could have fun dying, Onuma says. If you wanted to, you can go fight the final boss from the get-go. When you try to go for the final boss from the get-go, you don't have enough power or stats, you can't defeat the boss. But through trial and error, we want the user to figure out how they may be ready to battle the final boss and know when that time is, which they can decide on their own. The difficulty now dips and spikes depending on where you are, which works in tandem with the game's open nature. If there is a little spike of difficulty, you can always go around and avoid it until you are stronger or you are ready to fight it. You can always revisit that difficult area you may have encountered. After respawning, I continue north toward my original destination, a shrine. Okay, so this is where it's getting into shrines, a little more information, that's the word I was looking for, information about these. So Hyrule has more than 100 shrines littered across its world, and eventually players can find an item that identifies them. Shrines serve multiple purposes. Discovering one and opening its door creates a new fast travel spot on the map. Solving its puzzle awards a spirit orb, which is a valuable item that can be traded for unknown items. So that's really, really cool. I love the fast travel mechanic that's very similar to Shadow of Mordor, where you can fast travel to these different towers and stuff. So I like that because the world is supposed to be huge, and if there's 100 shrines, being able to teleport to these different areas is really going to be convenient. As I make my way to the shrine, I ride alongside a cliff that reminds me of Twilight Princess. I initially assume it's a natural border for the world, one that would kill me if I jump down. I'm shocked to learn that if I leap into the deep ravine and float using my paraglider, I can reach the bottom and explore. I've actually heard about this. They talk about this in one of the videos where there's this huge ravine cavern type thing that it looks like you could just die, but you can glide all the way down it and just explore what's down there. I'm excited for that. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of rare items and something really cool down there. All right, next page we got. These guys look so well designed. These are awesome. Man. Then we got this one with a spear, Link dodging, using that axe to kill. I'm not sure who this woman is. Hopefully we get a little bit of information on her. Alright, so as I continue north, the weather shifts again to snow. This is the cold region of Hyrule, and Link shivers as bears, wolves, and deer quietly move through the snow nearby. A dedicated team built the animal AI for Breath of the Wild, and it shows. The animals move naturally, and with purpose. These particular creatures have no interest in me, but I can engage them if I want. Other creatures, however, do not let me pass so easily. Ice Lizalfos, that's what these guys are called, Lizalfos, that's a cool name. Ice Lizalfos, a familiar Zelda enemy, are camouflaged by the snow and waiting for a chance to spring a surprise attack. Before going any further, I change into a warmer shirt and eat a pepper-infused steak I prepared earlier. In the cold, Link noticeably shivers and loses health over time. Eating spicy food ends Link's shivering, and I now feel prepared to attack the enemies hiding in the snow. I pounce on one and begin to fight, dodging an oncoming attack. Slows time and allows me to pull off a multi-hit flurry attack. This doesn't kill the Lizalfos, but I now have the upper hand. Suddenly, a second Lizalfos I did not see before enters the fray, taking off 6 hearts in one attack and killing me. My years of playing previous Zelda games did not prepare me for enemies this deadly. They made me soft. The Lizalfos' brazenness also surprised me. Past 3D Zelda games required enemies to take Link on one at a time. That is not the case in Breath of the Wild. You can get overwhelmed quickly, and no one is going to wait their turn. So that's something that we see in a couple different trailers, that these enemies, they're going to attack you. They're not going to just take you on one at a time and wait their turn. These guys are out for blood. They're going to kill you. If you're not prepared and you don't have the hearts and the equipment and stuff, you're going to die instantly. I think that's really cool. It's going to increase the difficulty of the game, but also make it more of a challenge and more fun to accomplish these different things. My checkpoint isn't too far from where I died, which is now marked with a red X on the map. I didn't leave anything behind when I died, but now I know where to be careful. When the Ice Lizalfos pounce again, I am ready. Elemental abilities can turn the tide of battle, so I equip fire arrows and to take out the ice enemies, which clears my last obstacle to the shrine. So fire, that's really cool that they're doing that. The fire being super effective against ice is something that I enjoy seeing, as I am a fan of super effective hits and stuff like that from Pokemon and everything. I like that they're incorporating that into this game. So we can see, what are these, like stone statues, stone trees or something? I don't know what those are. Those look pretty cool and interesting. So equine details. I think we're getting close to the end of this Game Informer section. Hopefully you guys are still sticking with it. Just going over all the information. Hopefully you enjoy learning a little bit more. Link's trusty steed Epona does not join him in Breath of the Wild, since this is something we talked about actually. The stronger, instead you must find and tame horses. The stronger the horse, the more difficult it is to tame. Nintendo walked me through the process during its Switch reveal event. First, Link crafts a sneaking elixir, using the campfire of a recently cleared bokoblin camp. He uses it to quiet his footsteps after coming across a group of wild horses. If it were raining, Link probably would hold off on using this elixir, as it's easier to be stealthy since downpour masks the noise. Leaping from a hill, Link lands on a horse and begins soothing it. Once he is in control, he rides toward the nearest stable. Here you can name it whatever you want and see its stats. Link can keep multiple horses at a time and switch them out based on his immediate goals. He might need a horse with lots of stamina for a long trip, but a stronger horse can do more damage to enemies with its hooves. Affection and loyalty are also important when it comes to breaking in your horses. Feeding and taking care of your horses raises these stats. The most loyal horses will follow Hyrule's mini paths automatically and with little need from the player to apply direction. You can also call your horse to you, but it needs to be within a certain proximity. You won't be able to call a horse from across the map. So that's really cool. A little bit more in-depth look at the horses and the attributes. I didn't know that each horse had different attributes. I knew that you could just tame horses and stuff, but I didn't know what that encompassed. So learning that is actually really cool. So early on in the game, I'm guessing you're not going to be able to get the best horses. Later on, different areas, different potions, you'll be able to catch these horses and really train them to be awesome beasts for battle and for travel. Let's see. Solving the smaller puzzles. All right. Shrines function like miniature dungeons. Each has a core puzzle, and most have an additional, more difficult puzzle. This shrine requires me to block off a series of air vents to push a ball toward a switch. Activating the switch raises a platform which clears a path to the end. Using magnesis, a new item that functions like a gigantic magnet, I moved blocks in front of the air vents. I wanted to block and stand on the platform so I can so I can watch the ball roll over to the switch. The shrine is complete, but a chest just out of reach distracts me. I have technically completed the shrine, but I make a flying leap toward the chest with my paraglider, hoping I can reach it but fall short. My failure puts me at the bottom of the shrine again. Rather than redoing the puzzle, I head back to the open world, and that's okay. The shrine is marked as incomplete on the map for me to come back to later. I jump on my horse and head toward another shrine I see in the distance. So I think that's really cool that they're incorporating these more difficult challenges and what's the word he used? Puzzles into each of the shrines where, you could get the main part of the shrine, but this extra treasure you may not be able to get yet. You might need a new item, or you might not just need some time to figure it out. And I think that's something that's really cool and interesting. So where was I? During my ride, a pair of enemies on horseback ambush me. I have a pitchfork, which doesn't do a lot of damage, but has great reach, perfect for horseback combat. I knock the enemies off their steeds and get on foot, fast swapping to a stronger sword, now that I don't need the extra reach. I switch between sword combat and my explosive arrows during the flurry, but the disaster strikes. Kyle the horse gets caught in the fray and is killed. That's so sad. Your horses can die. It's so sad. Oh man, so sad. So Kyle is killed. I take my revenge on the Bokoblins, but there is no bringing Kyle back to life. I could walk or fast travel back to the stable, but I have made it this far. As I mourn the loss of my steed, I soldier on toward the glow on the shrine in the snowy distance. Past Zelda games have featured a speaking companion that offers Link hints and gives direction, but that's not the case for Breath of the Wild. It can be an isolating feeling, which I experienced firsthand after losing my horse. Link is the kind of lone wolf in this game, Anuma says. I wanted to create that feeling so that whenever he encounters somebody, he has that element of, oh, I just saw somebody, and the warmth that you would feel. Companion characters in the past have always navigated and showed the path. And because we wanted players to choose their own path, we didn't want the companion element there to distract the players. I actually agree with that. I think that's actually really cool. A lot of people like Navi and who was the girl in Skyward Sword? I don't remember. And Midna from Twilight Princess. Those are cool characters, and they talk to you and they give you advice and stuff. But I actually like being able to explore and figure it all out for myself. I don't want to have an AI giving me these hints, because I like the challenge of experiencing it and figuring things out for myself. Some players may want to have that, but I don't know. For me, I think it's a good choice for them to go with. All right. Whoa, this is one of like the giant towers. I don't actually know a lot of information about these, but I think that these are like special areas that you access after completing certain shrines. Hopefully, they give us a little bit of information here. So, giant snowballs cascade down a nearby hill, and I pause to watch animals and enemies get trampled in their path. I consider salvaging a dropped weapon from a downed Lizalfos, but I don't know if I will be able to dodge the giant snowballs without suffering the same fate, and the shrine is just a short distance away. My climb to the shrine uses up nearly all my stamina, but I make it to the top. Sprinting, paragliding, and climbing are all tied to the same stamina meter, which can be upgraded. Nintendo did not share how it's done, but it will likely be a key upgrade for intrepid explorers. So that's cool. We've seen the stamina bar used, first introduced in Skyward Sword, and now being brought back into this game. And being able to upgrade it, I think, is going to be really, really useful, because then you can like paraglide forever if we can like upgrade it a lot, which I think would be pretty dope. Where did I leave off? Okay, so the shrine features miniature versions of the multi-legged guardian enemies seen in the game's initial reveal. I knocked over a torch near a pile of dry leaves, which burns open a passageway into the next room. The miniature guardian I fight here drops a strange staff with a glowing blue electrical blade. A series of barricades block my passage in this room. Through the bars, I spy a pair of barrels with something underneath them. I equip my fire arrows and shoot through the bars to light the barrels on fire, which unblocks the switch, allowing me to pass through. This is not the only way to get past the barricade, which is the case for most of the shrines. Many puzzles have multiple solutions. This leads me to the end of the shrine, and I head back outside to explore without a specific destination in mind. So I think that this video has gone on a little long. We're going to actually make this a two-part video since we're going through all this information. So we're going to stop off right here. We'll go ahead and leave this for the second half of the video. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more information. I know I did. It's really, really cool looking through this. I hope that you enjoyed. But I'm going to get the heck out of here, guys. As always, if you're not hydrating, you're dehydrating. QuotebyLee.
When you're thinking, damn, what is this? That's us. Making speakers bam when it hits like what? Give it some jams with that west side stuff. Everybody hands in the air straight up. Put them to the sky so high, now jump. Jam something crazy when that bass line bump. We just getting started, but that beat gon' cut. We just wanna party so tonight, so what? Come on everybody, put the drink down, bounce. Pull up with a hottie to the